be a little different kind of tutorial from me, and the whole concept of this came about when I was thinking about getting out of my comfort zone. I actually posted that question on my Twitter and my Facebook this past Friday. I do something called Friday Fill in the Blank, and it's a way to kind of connect with you and get your feedback on different topics. And this past fill in the blank said, getting out of my makeup comfort zone means. And it was really interesting to read people's comments, because some people would say, you know, it would mean scaling back and using less makeup. Some said, you know, it would be doing a really dramatic eye or a really bold lip. So it means different things for different people. And when I was talking to my friend David not too long ago, we were talking about video topics, and he said, why don't you go with a totally bold lip, you know, kind of perfected skin and nothing on the eyes? And I said, that would be getting out of my comfort zone, you know? So I definitely like to hear what going out of the makeup comfort zone means to you in the comments section. But in this video, I will show you how I got this look, and it is really makeup that looks like skin as far as the face goes. I felt like, you know, I really wanted it to come off really nice and natural. So using some lighter products, using some cream products as well, and then just bam with the bold lip. I hope you enjoy the video, and I just hope it gets you thinking about maybe some different things you can do with your makeup that you might not have thought about doing before. I really want the skin to come off in this look with a really natural, fresh appearance. And I was reading in Allure recently some good suggestions about using more cream products, because when you're just spending a lot of time outside in the sunlight, it's a lot less apparent really that anything's on your skin when you're using more of a cream finish. So powder is going to be to a minimum with this, so that might be getting out of my comfort zone too. But I'm going to use a BB cream here. You could use a tinted moisturizer. Really, BB creams, CC creams, they're all just kind of a tinted moisturizer type product. And this one is from Rimmel. So I'm just going to use my fingers to apply this all over my face. And it just has, you know, a little more coverage to it than most BB creams do. It's just got a little more thickness to it maybe. Next up, I'm going to do a little concealer just for coverage, and then one for brightening. The first one I'm using is my CoverGirl Plus Olay concealer stick, and I'm just going to dab that around on a few areas where I need it. And as I showed in my 10 favorite beauty products under $10 video, that concealer can really nicely double as a foundation in a pinch, so it's really nice. Next, I want to do a little more brightening, so I'm using my Dream Lumi concealer pen, and this is in Ivory, and I feel like the Ivory shade, if you are really wanting to go more towards a highlighting product than a concealing product, I mean, try a lighter shade in this. And so I'm just going to kind of run that right up on top of the cheekbone. I'm going to go down my nose with that. I'm going to kind of get right above the lip, which can sometimes look a little dark, and on the chin. So I'm not wanting to undo the coverage I got from the other product, so I'm really just trying to almost stipple over the concealer here rather than really buff it in. So like I said, not wanting to use a lot of powder with this look, but I am kind of wanting to set this area under the eyes a bit, and so a really nice powder that I'm loving for that purpose is the Ben Nye Luxury Powder in Buff. It's just the right shade, just a hair lighter than my overall skin tone, and it's just got the most wonderful very fine texture to it, so it really doesn't end up looking super powdery on the skin. So get some of that on my brush, and I'm just going to dab this right here under the eye. Sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the under eye concealer's looking good. It's gonna be a good day. I'm sometimes a little concerned about the T-zone, so I'll just put a little bit here. Next, I want to do some blush and bronzer, and I'm actually going to be using my contouring blush and bronzing cream from e.l.f. So this is in the shade St. Lucia, and they sell this in a powder product. I just recently talked about loving the powder product, but the cream is pretty fun to work with too. And I have a couple of synthetic brushes that I'm going to be using. I really like the e.l.f. small stipple brush to apply the blush, so I'm going to be using that. And also I've got this large angled contour from my Sigma Mr. Bunny travel kit. This is the F40, I believe that was the kit this came from, and it's just a nice synthetic brush as well. It's got a lot of thick bristles, and I like to use this with the bronzer. So I'm actually just going to dab into the bronzer a little bit with this brush. And then I'm going to apply it practically like, you know, I would apply a normal bronzer. So we're hitting, you know, the contour zone. Talk about really just blending in nicely and looking like skin, the finish of this. Since it's a cream product, I really like it. And if you have a tendency to get more oily, really oily in the summertime, maybe you want to stick to your powder blush and bronzer, but this is just something I'm kind of experimenting with lately. The funny thing is I get so in the routine of tapping off the excess that's on my brush, I go into the cream and it's like, oh, that didn't tap anywhere. I'm really getting a nice look right around the hairline up here, just, you know, where the sun would naturally hit. So then I'm going to go into the blush, and neither of these shades have any sparkle. They're just creamy colors, and you can see the blush is kind of a, you know, a soft pink shade here, maybe a little peach. And I've just got a little on the brush, and I'm just going to stipple that right on the outer part of the apple of my cheek. This reminds me so much of the blush that's in my Eve Pearl palette. In texture and color, it's crazy. I love this brush so much. It's just so perfect and so nicely stiff. You know, when you really want to stipple something on, or even if you want to buff it in a little bit, you know, it just has a great feel on the face. It's really soft. But it really gets the job done. I like it. As far as eyes, as we said, the eyes are going to be bare. I'm just going back with a teeny bit of this Ben Nye Buff powder, and I'm just going to dab that over the eye because I don't remember really hitting that area earlier, just to kind of absorb any oils that might come along throughout the day. I don't usually go eye makeup free, so we'll see if that maybe works as just a nice little preventative measure there to keep the eyes kind of looking fresh and controlling oil on the lid. I am, however, going to make sure to do my brows. I think that is important even if you're not doing eyes, maybe even more important. And I'm going to use my Estee Lauder Automatic Brow Pencil Duo. And then just kind of taking a closer look at some of the different brow products in my collection. And I do like that this is a really stiff, kind of dry pencil. And I think it just gives the brows a little more natural look than some things. So it's just been something I've been playing with a little bit more recently, but I kind of start in here. I don't need a ton of filling in on my brows to begin with, but I do have a little area at the end of this brow that I like to go over a bit, and a little bit over here. And then just to keep everything in place, I use my clear Maybelline Great Lash, just dot over them, and then brush through them with one of these little double-sided brushes here. Finally, the lips, which are kind of the star attraction of this look, and I'm going to just go for a real bright red lip. I'm using this shade from the Wet n Wild Fergie collection. It's called Old School Glam. This will go on very rich and opaque, and if you like this kind of a shade but you want something more sheer, I would really recommend something I mentioned in a previous video, in the 10 under 10 video. It's the Revlon Lip Butter in Wild Watermelon. This same kind of color family, but a little shinier, a little bit lighter on the lips. But I'm going to use my little e.l.f. retractable lip brush here and pick up some of that color. And I did kind of prep the lips with a lip balm. Can't talk too much while I do this or it's going to be a big mess. A lot of times with lipsticks like this, I would apply you know, a red lip liner all over. You can totally do that. I just feel like this lip brush does give me a lot of precision, so I'm just going with it. So there you go, everyone. Just really tried to even out my skin tone, nothing on the eyes, and a bright lip. I thought it'd be fun to throw on kind of a fun red necklace. I think I got this from Kohl's. Thanks so much for taking time to watch. If you do a video that really takes you out of your comfort zone, maybe you could post it as a video response, and have a great day. Bye, guys.